Greetings. Now, why am I showing you this lengthy PowerPoint presentation with so many images? It is a very long presentation, as you can see, and this comprises 1,000 AI generated images of art, which I've created. I began this process almost exactly 1 year ago, and I want to show you how easy it is to make good images with AI and also tell you a little bit about how I even got into this activity, which was quite by accident. There's one thing that people don't know about copyright law in the United States, and there is a considerable misconception about that among bloggers and creators. The widespread belief among bloggers from the early 2000s, when blogging was the primary form of social media content creation, was that if you choose any image from the internet and merely attribute it back to the creator, then you are covered for all copyright purposes. And that is in fact not true. Copyright law is very creator friendly because these laws were created in the 1960s and 70s in the United States. And at that time, the only copyright infringements that really mattered were between large institutions. They were of a very business to business, B2B nature. And by that, I mean one television network infringing on the copyright of another television network, or a book published by one major publishing house infringing on the copyright of a book published by another major publishing house. And for that reason, it was very creator friendly. Now, in the internet age, since ordinary people can just create, and most of those don't make much money, laws that are this onerous are problematic. And the misconception that arose was that as long as you attribute any image to the author, you are fine. And in a YouTube context, they believed that is something that would also apply to videos, music, and things like that. That is not true. You can, in theory, get in trouble, but the belief was that since some random image with some small time blog is too onerous to enforce and it's too diffuse and decentralized, no one is really at risk. Artificial intelligence has changed that, and in both directions as well. So this is where the story gets interesting. A friend of mine recently notified me that he got a letter from a lawyer where the lawyer is demanding more than $3,000 due to one image being a copyright infringement. So I did some investigation about this because I had a lot of social media content up, and that too going all the way back to 2006 at The Futurist. And what happens is that artificial intelligence can gather up all 20,000 or so unauthorized uses of an image and aggregate them up for the copyright infringer. And therefore, a large institution such as Getty Images or The Economist, who does not want their images or graphs to be used by bloggers, can now find all these violations and have one of these law firms send out 20,000 demand letters, and maybe 10% of the people get scared and send in $3,000. So if 2,000 people send in $3,000, that is $6 million to be divided up between the lawyer and the copyright holder. So that is a lucrative type of extortion. And AI makes that possible because they can find some image that you used 15 years ago in your blog post and say that you owe all this money for 15 years of use. It's not merely a cease and desist letter, after which you can take it down. It is a demand based on past use. And a lot of people have gotten these letters. I have not, but a friend of mine did, so I was lucky in that I had the opportunity to fix everything long before I get in trouble. But this is something that's happening. However, there's a disruption on the other side. The notion of charging for proprietary images is itself under tremendous threat. Take, for example, something like Getty Images. This is the Getty Images website, and if you want images pertinent to spring, I put the word spring here, you can see all these images. They're available for licensing. So I'm going to click on one of them, perhaps this one, and I'm blurring out most of this image so that I don't have an additional copyright challenge as a result of just this video. But look at the pricing. Small, medium, and large, and small is not even useful. That's not high enough resolution. You need medium or large in most cases. This is the price, $375 to $499, just for the rights to use this one image. Now, that pricing made sense in a B2B world because if the Associated Press or Reuters wants to use an image from an independent photographer like this price is not high given the total budget of the Associated Press and Reuters. And about $4 billion a year is spent worldwide just on this image licensing, including from Getty Images, which still has revenue of about $1 billion per year. $1 billion per year. But it's very easy to make images like this in artificial intelligence, as I've learned in the last year. I did not even anticipate that I would spend this much time in creating AI art, but I found it very addictive and very fun. I had gone there only for the purpose of making alternatives for my YouTube thumbnails. But I got sucked into the art community over there, and I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm doing very well in that because I routinely place in the top 5% in the daily contests. So I've become a very good AI artist. And this is just from the first year. I continue to improve because there's a lot of learning to be had just to become a progressively better AI artist. So these are just the best 1,000 images from my first year. And as you learn more about different types of artists and styles, the variety of images that you make can continue to rise. And I will publish other slideshows in the future devoted to the art I make at a more advanced skill level. But this is just what I've produced in the first year. And this is a video where you can loop it and play it on a big screen if you like this type of art. Now, some of the images might be a little bit inappropriate for children, but not by a huge degree. I also have to show you what is possible within the technology and see it for that purpose. Any person in any art image that accidentally resembles a real person is, again, accidental. That is just because the AI engine has had certain people cycled through there so much that the engine has been trained on everyone putting in images of a certain actress. So some famous faces may appear from time to time, but that's because thousands of users have trained the AI engine with a certain person's face, nothing more. And yes, I use this AI art in my thumbnails. Longtime viewers have noticed that, but it's time to put forth this gallery in its own right. So who's going to pay $4 billion a year in licensing? Only the big companies for whom those fees are still very small. But I suspect that Getty Images will see a revenue shrinkage relatively soon because they still make $1 billion out of that $4 billion per year just from those types of image fees, when I can make better images than that on my own, as you can see. So I hope you enjoy the slideshow, and thank you very much for watching this and the slideshow as well.